Good morning and welcome to the Senior Hour, which is sponsored by Santa Clarita In-Home Care and Advanced Audiology. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host,
Dr. Dorio,
on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. This is a show for, about, and by seniors, giving information to enhance one's quality of life. And our very special guest this morning is Bill Reynolds, a Vietnam veteran. Welcome, Bill. It's good to see you again.
Thank you.
We've been seeing a lot of each other, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
Woohoo!
Nice
Don't
to be
tell
here.
anybody.
Our secret.
That's right. Welcome, Bill. More than just Vietnam veteran, though. Stalwart in this community for our veterans. Made the biggest difference for so many who are here trying to survive for some of them being homeless, some of them not having an education, some of them not even having food in the refrigerator. Bill Reynolds, you've been out there working for our seniors in Santa Clarita for years and years and years. And not only that, this is the Senior Hour, and with so many of them now being seniors, you've taken the throttle on this and moved forward to make sure they all get good care. Thanks so much for being here. This is an honor for us.
Absolutely.
Well, it's nice to be here. I tell you, I feel pretty fortunate that recently I've been given a kind of a stage to help promote all issues about veterans, and that's as director of Veterans Affairs with the Signal newspaper. And I appreciate being here in conjunction with KHTS, which is a strong supporter of veterans. So we make a good team. And
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And you have two more on your team.
Yes.
Sitting here with you.
We've always been on this team.
Absolutely. As it turns out in this community, I have a lot of teammates. We have a lot of teammates. This community is very strong on military and veteran affairs, so it's just a pleasure to be part of it.
And it doesn't, make sense that this community is the only community focusing, because all communities should be focusing on our veterans. Anyone who dons a uniform, anyone should be honored by that. And when they come back from serving, whether bullets are flying at them or not, they need to be honored in different ways. Education, jobs, they need to make sure that their health care is secured. Lots of things are going on, Bill, where we look at those veterans who have served and they're not getting those things at all.
Right. Now, that's very true, and it's sad to see. Recently I've been urging the city to install a war memorial, or a fallen warriors monument, as we like to call it, at the Veterans Historical Plaza. And we've noticed over there at the plaza that there's been a number of homeless hanging out there and pretty much living there and using it as their closet and their locker room. And it's sad. It's really sad to see so many homeless there, and a few of them are veterans.
There are veterans. Probably about 20-25% are veterans.
It's hard to say, but I have spoken to a number of them, and it's interesting. They take pride in having that Veterans Historical Plaza as their place to be, just to be. And they also take pride in that there's never been any vandalism at that plaza. And they treat it like it's a shrine, as all veterans and all citizens of Santa Clarita do. So it's some of these people may be homeless and they may be a little unbalanced, and maybe there may be some alcohol and drug abuse. But the ones that I've spoken to just right here at the Veterans Historical Plaza, it's a sad state of affairs that they're in, but they do have some honor about them.
Well, it's interesting, too, because I've sat on those benches. They're very comfortable to sit on.
Yeah.
Have you ever
Sit
sat on the
and maybe
benches?
sleep on, too.
Yeah, so,
you can understand.
It's logical that they would use that place.
Yeah,
and they're protected there also.
I think so.
They are very protected. I mean, there's shade trees all along there. There are comfortable benches, and there's lighting at nighttime too, so that they have a certain sense of security, I believe. But it's interesting. In the last week or two, I haven't looked in the last 2 days, but several days ago, I noticed that they've moved on. and I don't know where they've gone to, and I don't know if it's a temporary departure, if they're coming back, but they've used some of the trees and some of the planters to store their items, and all of it is gone now. So I don't know if the Bridge to Home has stepped up to try to help these people. I know that it's been discussed with them by the city, and but at any rate, they haven't been there for the last week or so.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
But it's sad because, certainly if they have a roof over their head now and food in a refrigerator, that's great. That's what we need to be doing. But if they've moved on just to another location, then they'll be back. And to me, you, Bill, have always taken the responsibility of helping those in need. And there are seniors over there who are homeless. There are veterans over there who are homeless. And my hope your role will be is to depict to the city council that these are our brethren. These are people who may have fallen out of the system but need help. And they're human beings like the rest of us, and being with the Signal, maybe a possibility is writing about some of those homeless veterans that are there and showing how human they are, and maybe how they went over the cliff, and then depicting how we might be able to help them.
Right. Well, I can tell you this, that I believe it was last Saturday's newspaper, that the Signal editorial board had quite a column, quite an opinion piece on the homeless, and they're doing just that, urging more attention to be paid to help the homeless. And by the way, I think it has to be said that although I've talked to the folks over there, the homeless over there, that I've talked to elderly people who like to visit that plaza, and some of the people, the elderly and even the young folks, tend to shy away from the plaza simply because the homeless kind of depict kind of a scary scenario with them, and so it's caused people to be apprehensive about going to the Veterans Historical Plaza. So something needs to be done to help the homeless, and we do need to make the Veterans Plaza a more palatable place to visit. And if people are shying away because of the homeless, it's not what I would call a win-win situation.
No, it's not an easy situation. Right. We have a problem in this country. The rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. Seemingly, the middle class is shrinking. Right. Some in the middle class are seniors and are veterans. Yeah. And we need to help them, and there is money from the county and the federal government that potentially could be injected into this community if the city council allows that. But apparently they, from what has been said, they're not allowing that, and I think that's what prompted the Signal to have their board make a statement about what should be done. And I think essentially the bottom line was, let's explore what we could potentially do for the homeless population here, but we have to also take into consideration, for us as a community to do anything, we need the money to do that. Yeah. And where there's money being dangled in front of us for us to jump through the hoops to get it, I think we do, like the Signal said, have to explore that.
Well, it should be explored, I believe. I can understand why there's some apprehension in the community about possibly being further taxed to handle these sort of things. I think we're going to be taxed a little bit more due to the Prop E at CLC. So it's like, do we want to endure more taxation? I don't know. So it's somehow it's got to be probably through the generosity of churches and individuals and businesses around the community to help support. Bridge to Home apparently has a good platform for helping the homeless, and maybe they just need a boost themselves to do more, and perhaps that could happen through the generosity of the community, because I'm definitely not I understand the homeless plight, definitely understand it. I've talked to a lot of them, but I can see where there's apprehension on further taxation.
Yeah, there's not. Bill, there's not going to be a local increase in tax for this. The money is already has been labeled and set aside by the county and the federal government and even the state.
I see.
So all we have to do is tap into that if we can. But we, for any monies, like I said, they're dangling it in front of you, but you got to jump through the hoops to get it, and you got to see what is it that they want us to do to be able to access that money.
Right.
But I don't, you and I are on the same page. Taxes are too high, and we need to look at how we can minimize that. But when money is earmarked for homeless in the United States, we need to, like the signal said, we need to take a close look at that to move in the right direction, because we all have seen it here in our community. In the past, we saw a few homeless. We did not see any homeless seniors. Now we are seeing a lot of homeless, and we are seeing a lot of seniors who are out there who are, on the street, and it's not right. It's not right. So we need to start examining how we're going to take that money, how we're going to move forward with that, and make a difference in our community. No, there are going to be other places than our park over here for veterans that people will shy away from, and that's not good either.
Right.
But I believe the homeless population will continue to increase, and if we don't deal with it now, we're going to be in trouble. And it's the same thing that with people who, for my profession, they smoke, and if they keep smoking, they're going to have problems down the line.
Yeah.
And I'm saying deal with it now, and then you don't have to deal with it in the future.
Well, a strong economy would go a long ways towards solving a lot of America's ills.
True.
Yeah, it would.
And of course, distribution of being able to decide how you're going to use the money appropriately. And something I think we can all come to agreements on that in the long run.
Yeah.
But you do have to explore the monies that are being set aside for all of us,
Right.
and making sure that especially the veterans, especially the seniors who are on the street, are allowed to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Well, there are so many brand new houses popping up all over this valley. I mean, you
mean
can look in the look out over the landscape and see dozens and dozens of areas that have been flattened to put houses up.
Right.
What's wrong with another veterans housing center here?
Right.
We have one, don't we, on what's the name of the street? It's across from the Child and Family Center.
Mm-hmm.
That housing tract up there,
Right.
next to Bowman High School. I think that is a veterans housing area.
Oh, yeah. That was promoted by the Habitat for Humanities,
Yes.
and I believe they've built out, or plan to build out, up to 78 or maybe 80 homes over there to assist veterans to move their families into. And they it was a few months back, but they turned over keys to, I think it was about 25 or so
Right.
veteran families to move in there. So it's one of those, those really win-win situations there with the community, and they put on fundraisers. Habitat
That's
does. They had the Builders Ball every February, and I've attended those. It's amazing the turnout and the amount of money that is raised, and that's how you solve those problems. You reach out to the community.
That's very true. And this community is always supportive, always.
Yeah.
Every single nonprofit fundraiser here makes money
Right.
on their fundraisers in this community, because the community supports
Yes.
all of our agencies out here.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
do wanna
wonderful community there. It really is.
I want to point out that new housing development it's a different arrangement that they have with veterans who qualify. I mean, you have to put in sweat equity as well as help with the funding of the homes. It's a little different scenario than what we're faced with the homeless and the homeless veterans, because they have They have nothing. They couldn't possibly even attempt to qualify for one of those homes. So a different scenario has to come about.
Yes, I agree with
Yeah.
you. I agree with you. And maybe some of these developers can get together and do something about it.
Maybe.
You know, they make thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars
How about
off these
millions?
beautiful, beautiful homes that they're putting up.
That uses a lot of
Let's-
water.
Yes, that's true. It does.
Oh, we
Why
want to go
not
there?
put
Yeah.
But why not? Why not go together and build an area out where we can house our veterans
Yeah.
on
Well-
a lower level,
Yeah.
that
I
they
think
don't
it's
have to
important
pay
we-
millions to get in.
We have to take a focus, though. I mean, if you look at the homeless, I mean, the thought is some have gone off the cliff, some are mentally ill, and some abuse drugs. I mean, how are you going to, take care of all of it? And the thing to do is to say, okay, let's focus in our community on certain aspects of the homeless, and looking at the senior population who are homeless and looking at the veteran population that are homeless. I think it's a smaller percentage, but we're able to cope with that number as opposed to the whole population. So I think we should narrow our focus a little bit. And, let's say there are 12 homeless at the park and we take care of 4 of them.
Right.
Then there's 8.
Right.
So, and that's one step in the right direction. So instead of just thinking that we can do it for everybody, which, let the big folks do it, let the government do it, or whoever wants to do it. But, I think in our community, if we were going to put together our churches and our fundraising people, let's look at just an aspect of it and saying, okay, veterans, and if you're a senior, we're going to make sure you can pay your property tax and don't become homeless because of that. We're going to make sure if you come home and take your uniform off, that you're going to have the ability to get an education, have a job, and even get certain loans for a home. These are the things I think would be helpful. And, we're supposed to be doing that.
Right.
After World War II, we certainly did it.
Sure.
And a lot of the World War II and Korean War veterans did very well because of it. But we kind of become absent from that, haven't we?
Well, again, I think it goes back to the economy. People are having a tough time making ends meet in these times. But here's an idea for you, Gene. Some years ago, you had a great idea to have a Run for Heroes, a charity event. Now I'm thinking a Run for Homeless Veterans. This is right up your alley,
Yep.
Gene. You
Well, I can do that.
You could organize something like that in this community. And I don't know what...
We have everything together for that. Bill, we can have that up and running. This is the end of June. We can have it in September.
You could...
We can do it that fast because we have Robin Clow has everything in place for this.
So then it's a matter of how you would collect the funds and what precisely to do with funds. Maybe it's just strictly assisting Bridge to Homes. I don't know, but
I think it
yeah.
will. I think we can coordinate all of these issues together. Because something, Bill, it's not going to be government that's going to do it. It's not going to be the people and churches that do it. It's going to be all of us that do it.
The community.
And if we look at it that way, if we all put out our tentacles and then pull them close together, we'll have a network of all of us trying to do something and figuring out where the problems lie.
Yep, exactly.
Yes,
Team
I agree
effort.
with you. I agree with
team
you.
effort.
And we should do that. And right now we need to take a break. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.